So, in this one, I want to talk about why I'm not afraid of AI book publishing, and you shouldn't be either. If you are out there, you're writing your stuff, you're trying to get it out, you're trying to get people to find it, um, stick around. You're going to want to watch this video because it'll be hopefully a little bit encouraging for you. If you like this stuff, I'm a fiction writer. My name is Keith Hayden, the digital novelist. Ooh, excuse me. You can subscribe to this channel and you'll find more about my books and you can find all that stuff below. AI and writing, huge topic right now. I've talked about it before on this channel. You've probably seen a ton of people talking about it, but I'm actually behind, I was going to say behind enemy lines on this one, but I don't consider people who use AI my enemy. I'm not an enemy. I've used AI a ton. I've experimented with it a ton. And maybe you're going to turn off this video after I said that. That's fine. Um, but I want to talk about this because it's a reality that we have to face today as writers. And it is true. I regularly publish my books through Amazon and other places online. And I have seen the number of I don't know if the books are AI generated, but I can certainly see the covers are AI generated. And I read the summaries, and I've done a lot of writing generation with various AI tools, ChatGPT, Claude, others, and I can tell it's mostly written by AI. At least the blurb is, and then when I see an AI image and I read a probably AI generated blurb, I assume a good portion of the book is written by AI. Especially when I see an anonymous writer, which is kind of one of the things I want to talk about today because one of the groups that I frequent, I've been in an AI writing group for the past, I don't know, maybe year or so. And originally I was in there just to get ideas, and it is a great place to see how people are using AI in innovative ways to actually get more out of it. Um, but that's not the way most people use AI. A lot of people use it as a kind of a one and done thing. They see this kind of magic solution. They see it writing fairly coherent words and stories and producing very beautiful pictures, even if some of the pictures don't make sense. It doesn't matter. They look good to a non art trained eye, to a lot of consumers. I mean, and this is kind of the facts that we deal with. If you're an artist in any form, you write, you draw, whatever, you are sensitive to these things. Like you know what it takes to produce something that's high quality. Like you can study other people's stuff even if your stuff isn't into that level yet. But what's happening is a lot of these people who are using just AI, especially in the writing space, they've never really written a whole book or a whole story. And so they don't know how to stitch these things together. And I've said it before, but AI, it reveals your competence, but it also reveals incompetence. Because if you don't know what it's producing, you can't correct it. If you don't know, you can ask for a book or a short story or something, but then it could come out like junk and you don't know it's junk because you've never done it yourself. So that's what I see happening in a lot of these spaces. A lot of people are regular reports of people writing 90-95%, and they'll admit this. Their book is AI. And I've actually, if you go back on this channel, it was a while ago now. It's probably like 7 or 8 months last year. I read a completely AI generated book. And it wasn't as bad as you would think, but a lot of the main elements of uh, a cohesive story were not present. And this typically happens with AI. As soon as it gets to a certain point, it just kind of breaks down and it loses the plot. Even with the best AI writing platforms, like Claude is a big one. Claude is very good, but once you start getting past that 10,000, 20,000 word, those thresholds, it's on its own. You really need to stop and steer it. So this is one of the reasons why I'm not worried, because the actual end quality of these stories is, I'm not gonna say it's not good, but right now it's not to that level. And then I see people every day trying to get to the magic threshold. I don't some name I'm gonna give it, but it's basically to where I can hit a button and AI can come out with a stylized, customized, beautiful book that's coherent, cohesive, and it makes a lot of money. I'm sure this will happen very soon. We're already seeing this in the music space where there's a probably completely AI generated band that has like hundreds of thousands of streams, but you can just tell when you look at the images, like the images AI, all the music's AI generated. So this is the world we're kind of entering. But I'm gonna stick on writing because if you're watching my channel, you're probably a writer because it's called Digital Novelist. But I noticed an interesting trend yesterday, and I was talking to my wife about this. How there's a tendency, and actually, it's not just in writing. This is kind of across the board when it comes to creativity. There's a tendency for published works that are mostly AI created for the creators to be either anonymous or they use a pen name. And part of me could see why in the beginning, because if you're experimenting, there's huge, there's with AI right now, there's huge proponents of it, and there's huge people who are anti AI. So especially if you're already a well-established author and you want to try and play around with AI, but you don't want to put it out there yet that you've been using it and dabbling with it, which is what I suspect a lot of bigger name writers have done, because why wouldn't you at least try it? Then I could see, anonymous, pen name, whatever. But a lot of these people are not, I'm guessing they're not famous writers. And like I said, majority who are using it, they're not using it for idea generation. They're not using it for refinement. They are using it to produce a finished product and putting it out. They're probably not famous, but a lot of them are anonymous. Even within the group, this group is mostly they're all AI positive, and a lot of people still post anonymously. And then even if they're not anonymous, there's not links to their books, which I think I find very odd. Especially there's common posts of, I just generated this novel or this book or whatever, and it's made this much money on Amazon. It's got this 5-star reviews. They'll show a screenshot, but then I'm like, where's your book? Where's the book at? And I click around in their profile. I click around like online. I do like just 2 or 3 searches, and I'm like, I can't find this person. One, because they're either anonymous or they're using a pen name or something. I damn sure can't find the story, which I find. And then I remember I mentioned that I read that AI book last year. I couldn't find any AI books at the time. So I actually posted in the group and said, hey, I'm looking to read an AI generated book. I just want to see like actually what it's like. And people were very hesitant to post like their books. Like I remember that post didn't get a lot of traction. So why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because this is where the rubber meets the road, at least for me as a creator, because I'm out here. I'm about to release a book next month. It's a techno romance novella, short novel called Prompted Hearts. You can check it out. There's more information in the description, but I'm out here cutting my teeth on marketing, making videos, like really trying to figure out. This is the first time I'm really trying to, okay, how do I sell this book? And I've tried it in the past, but I didn't really go all in. This one I'm going all in on. And those who are using AI, they can't or won't do that. Most won't. I mean, hell, I mean, most writers wouldn't do that because a lot of writers don't like doing this type of thing, talking, being on camera, that type of thing. It's just kind of a more introverted type of activity, writing tends to be. But these AI creators are at a huge disadvantage when it comes to this because they will not do this. They will not make a video with themselves on camera and be actually themselves and then say, "Hey, I wrote this book," because and it's not that necessarily they can or something. Maybe they don't have the skills or technical skills or whatever. I think it's that they don't want to, and I know why. It's this hollowing that I've talked about with AI. When you use AI, it's kind of like if you remember, I think it was Neverending Story 2, where he could like wish for things, but every time he wished for something, like he lost a little bit of his memory. It was something like that. I haven't seen this movie in years, but I remember there was a mechanic like that, and I never forgot that because I thought that was so interesting. And I feel like that's what this kind of effect happens when you use AI too much, when you would over rely. Like, and these are the extreme ends of the spectrum where they're one button push. It's not one button push, but you know what I mean. They have ideas, but then the AI kind of does the execution. So even if you go back through and read that book, and you're like, yeah, I like this, I approve or whatever, and you publish, because you didn't go through that process to put that book together, because you saw the words, but you didn't really feel the words because you just kind of, I'm not saying you have to be all ooh and feel the words, that type of thing. I'm just saying that it's harder to do this with AI writing because you're not connecting with it. It's not coming from you. It is coming from you, but you know what I mean. You're not deliberately putting the words in. And so it's harder to connect to that narrative, those characters, those themes, whatever's in there that the AI baked in. You can't really speak to that. And I know this from personal experience because I've tried it. I've generated at least 2, 3, 4 whole stories with AI, and I've tried to put those stories out, and I just couldn't. I could not like approve. Like when I got to the final seal of approval across my desk equivalent, I was like, ah, it's not for the ethics and all that stuff or the morals or anything like that. Go watch another channel if you want that. But it's more of just like there's not enough of me in here. Yeah, there's me and there's the initial ideas, but there's not enough. And this is the reason why one of the big reasons I'm not worried as a writer, as a fiction writer, as a writer in general, as a creator in this age of AI, because these people know, like and I feel like it's a human feeling, and we are going to have to quantify this. We're going to have to name this because it's like some type of hollowing effect or something to where never ending story. You're losing your memory. Literally, you're losing your memory of how to do this activity that you previously enjoyed, or maybe you never enjoyed it. And that's why a lot of people I've seen in these groups have said, I never enjoyed the actual writing. I just had story ideas and I wanted to get those ideas down. Nothing wrong with that. But that makes it harder to produce something that will endure, that you can actually speak to. You have no choice. You are just stuck with that AI output. And this has been a huge concern of mine creatively because I don't like that being stuck with an output. It's one of the big reasons that I've been, if you go to my website, I've been drawing for the past month. Like I'm learning how to draw inspired by AI. Why? Because whenever I generated an AI image, I was stuck with the damn thing. I couldn't do anything with it. It just had to just stay static like that. And I feel like that's the way it is with AI generated anything. You just kind of get a chunk of finished product, but going back in and tweaking it, talking about it, selling it, connecting the real you with that output is very difficult to do. And it's fine in the short run, but I think in the long run, a lot of these AI creators, maybe there will be a few that, stick with it and break out, but I don't think they'll last just because that connection is not really there. So that's my thoughts on this. Hope you enjoyed this video. like this video. And I'm thinking about doing I've been, like as I mentioned, I'm currently marketing my short novel. And I'm really thinking about doing a video series on book marketing for fiction specifically, because as I've been marketing, there's not a lot of good advice out there. There's just not a lot of advice in general, because most stuff around fiction is focused on writing a good story. It's all about the mechanics, the pacing, the characters, the plot, all those things. But a lot of writers don't get to this point to where they are finishing. One, that's the first thing. Two, they don't get to the point to where they are actually trying to sell. In marketing, go into any writing community, first thing you will hear people complaining about is, "Oh, I don't want to sell my book. I shouldn't have to market," that type of thing. Well, guess what? You do today. You have to do that, or else nobody's going to know. And so let me know if you'd be interested in that type of a series of me either documenting what I'm doing somehow, if that would be helpful for you, or if, I'll definitely do like an outcomes video once the book launches to see how well I did. But let me know if you'd be interested in a fiction book marketing series. Maybe we could do something here. I'm Keith Hayden, the digital novelist. See you in the next video.